Hello gamers! As we all know, the zone doesn't have bugs, it has anomalies. The developers of S.T.A.L.K.E.R have always loved leaving tons of references and Easter eggs in their games. And the new S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 is no exception. The zone is once again full of mysteries, some hidden in dialogues, others in interiors, and some you only notice during a second playthrough. Today, I've gathered all the most interesting things I've managed to spot in one video. So, if you're ready, put on your gas mask, and welcome to the zone. I'd like to start with references to other games, particularly Assassin's Creed, specifically the Leap of Faith. On one of the towers, we can find an obvious reference to it, where a path of boards leads to the edge, and if we jump, we'll actually survive thanks to an anomaly. But this isn't the only place where developers added a quick descent option. The second one is on the excavator from Call of Pripyat. You can climb up it and discover a rather amusing anomaly that lets you float around before safely and quickly descending. For this, you also need to stand on a ledge and jump down. The devs didn't forget about The Witcher either, leaving an Easter egg in the form of a Wolf School medallion. In Call of Duty Modern Warfare, there's a mission in Pripyat where we position ourselves in the Policy Hotel on the upper floors and prepare to snipe Zakhaev. In Pripyat, we can find that very hotel. And if you go upstairs, you'll discover a sniper position, a sniper rifle, and ammunition for it. And in Zalesti, at the Trader's Place, you can find a guitar and even play it. If you know how, of course. Which, in my opinion, references The Last of Us with the same chord control menu. I don't know if this counts as an Easter egg, but such a pile of scurrying rats reminded me of Dishonored or A Plague Tale. By the way, if you throw a grenade, they'll all disappear at once. Now, guess, was that an anomaly or just a bug? And in the post office, we can find a postcard advertising vacations in Livonia. In DayZ, there's a banner with exactly the same picture, and this isn't the only reference to DayZ. We can also find a map of Chernarusha. In the location with burnt trees, there isn't much interesting stuff, but one detail is very hard to miss. It's a bonfire with a skeleton lying in it, with a sword sticking out, which is a clear reference to the bonfires from Dark Souls. The developers don't just like to make references to games, but also to various movies. In Back to the Future Part 3, Marty and Doc end up in the Wild West era, and since their car breaks down, they have to go back using a train, leaving a flaming trail behind. And exactly the same trail can be found near the cooling towers in the game. Speaking of unusual vehicles, have you seen Harry Potter? If you have, you probably remember the moment when Harry got stuck in a car in a tree. In the film, everything ended quite well, but in the game, in the swamps on one of the islands, you can find a car stuck in a tree, and considering the realities of the zone, the fate of its passengers is quite mysterious. But the reference is interesting. Another Easter egg is a suspicious container, around which you can find many soldiers guarding it. They're clearly watching over something, but any self-respecting person would of course want to try opening the container if they see a terminal on it, right? Especially us Easter egg hunters. To check what's actually inside. But be very careful, because when you do this, you'll need lots of ammunition, as inside hides a huge crowd of zombies, which is also a reference to the Resident Evil film, which in turn was based on the game of the same name. That's quite a circle of references. But moving away from regular references, one can't help but be amazed at how meticulously the developers recreated the city of Pripyat, where you can enter almost every building, so there are a huge number of small details. Here's an example. In Pripyat, in the basement of Medical Unit number 126, you can still find the belongings of firefighters who extinguished the burning reactor of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant under conditions of monstrous radiation. Many learned about this from the HBO series, and this hospital and these items can be found in the game version of Pripyat, and the radiation there is no joke. And in one of the random apartments, you can go into the bathroom and find a duck wearing a gas mask, as well as Soviet Christmas tree ornaments or this roly-poly toy, and also a doll that people say is Chucky, but in my opinion, it doesn't look like him at all. On the barge, by the way, you can find the same doll, only with a huge scythe in its hands. And in general, such dolls are found everywhere in the game. And here's the legendary Ferris wheel. It's still standing, but unfortunately, you can't ride it anymore. At least not in the game, because a few years ago, a group of tourists managed to turn the forever frozen mechanism. 33 years ago, when the catastrophe happened, the cooling towers froze in time, and people will never finish building them. But in the game today, we'll find an insanely cool thing there. We go right inside and see a terrifying firestorm. This basket looks incredibly epic, but there's even a whole puzzle with parkour and overcoming very radioactive attacks. The thing is, this fiery hurricane has two stages. One is when it's in the center, and the second is when it expands and affects almost the entire area inside this structure. And if you manage to overcome it, inside you can find one of the rarest artifacts in the game, the strange nut. The artifact looks like a frozen nut, and it's a pretty rare find for stalkers. Walking around the zone, you can come across the Pripyat Cafe. There's a real light show happening there. It's unclear, of course, how and where the light sources are coming from, but it's beautiful. Well, it's really beautiful. And by the way, this cafe really existed, and GSC transferred it exactly into the game, even the mosaic on the glass. Look at this arch. Does it remind you of anything? If I show it like this, it's the same arch from the art of the first Stalker. All the details are in place. The radiation hazard sign, gas mask, icon, nest. But I don't advise walking through the arch. At the cordon, we can still find that legendary death truck, but there are no bodies anymore. Well, actually, there's just one left, decomposed into mold. Another Easter egg that gave me a lot of pleasant emotions is the place from the main menu of S.T.A.L.K.E.R Shadow of Chernobyl. I came across this structure while running away from a storm, and it became my small shelter. I think any fan who played the original a long time ago will shed a tear finding this place because, well, nostalgia. It exactly repeats that frame from the menu, and respect to the developers for remembering their roots. There's also a small fire where you can sit and look at this Easter egg. There's a backpack lying here, and most importantly, a powerful sniper rifle that was in the main menu of the old game. And yes, you can take it for yourself. Speaking of the part titled Shadow of Chernobyl, in the Rookie Village, on one of the roofs we can find a stash with mercenary armor. This was perhaps the most legendary hiding spot in the entire series. And in S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2, they didn't forget about it. The stash is in the same place, but unfortunately, the mercenary armor is no longer there. Many people, while playing the classic parts of S.T.A.L.K.E.R, wondered what a snork looks like without a gas mask. The most desperate even made mods where they added the face of this mutant. And during the quest to rescue Shustrov, we switch roles a bit, and Schuster saves us from a snork, and then removes its gas mask. He has a special fetish for snork gas masks, and this is what the face of this creature looks like. By the way, about Shustry. The stalker nicknamed Shustry is a unique character in the game universe. He is one of two characters appearing in all parts of the game. In Clear Sky, he worked as a guide for the Clear Sky faction. Well, worked, he was constantly sleeping on a stool. During the events of Shadow of Chernobyl, Clear Sky had already disbanded, and Shustry had to become an ordinary stalker working for Sidorovich. During one of his missions, he is captured by bandits, and we, along with Wolf's group, go to rescue him. In Call of Pripyat, Shustry settled at Skadovsk and made a name for himself by earning money on orders for unique weapons and armor. By the events of S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2, Shustry has changed his profession again, now working as a mutant hunter. And this is one of the few secondary characters that appear in all parts of the series. Walking through the zone, we can come across a hurricane, and if we approach it closely, a stalker will fly out of it with the Wilhelm scream. Another interesting location, not so dangerous, and possibly even a reference that I just didn't understand. Because there are dozens of safes here, one of which is closed and all the others are open. And you need to spend quite a lot of time opening all the safes so that the script activates, and in the last one, we get a key to the closed safe. I naively thought that something really valuable was hidden in it, but as it turned out, no. There were a couple of bullets, and I don't even know why I wasted my time. After the release of each game in the series, they release limited edition sets of themed graphics cards, different from regular ones by the image on the box, a sticker on the casing, the presence of a game disc, and so on. There were two companies producing such products, Asus and PowerColor, and recently MSI joined them, releasing a limited RTX 4070 Ti in stalker design, which we can find in the Research Institute. Even the design is identical. In Shadow of Chernobyl, a real energy drink was added as advertising, and 18 years later, the company decided to repeat the promotional campaign and added their energy drink to S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. And the company also released a limited version of the energy drink in S.T.A.L.K.E.R design, which we can also find in the game. If you throw a bolt at an NPC, they'll react by making a funny face. And that's all. I'm sure the zone still hides many secrets, so if you liked the video, don't forget to support it with a like, and I'll make a second part. Thank you very much for your attention. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss new videos. You can write in the comments what Easter eggs you've personally encountered, and see you in the next videos.